Hey man, I really hate to hijack this debate you've been having with Hate You All, but there's some issues. I actually wanted to make a response to your video a while back, but I wasn't sure if I should because I didn't think it applied to me. Although I would say that technically I am a Jesus mythicist, despite the fact that I believe that there was a historical Jesus. And that's the problem. That's one of the big problems that I think you make. You say that Hate You All 56 seems to set up a false dichotomy between the position between Jesus, the position between that Jesus was the Son of God and that Jesus never existed. Hold on, I gotta pause this for a second. Okay, and that was the first point that you made, and the second point was saying that one has a problem with the historicity of Jesus' miracles does not quite lend credence to the position that Jesus never existed in the first place, and I completely agree with you, which is why I tend to believe that there probably was an historical figure that the Jesus character in the Bible is based off of. Although technically I'm still a Jesus mythicist because I think the stories in the Bible that evolved out of the Jesus story evolved in parallel to myths that were already around during that period of time. Things like Mithraism and Isis and Osiris and all that stuff. And there are obvious parallels between certain aspects of the Jesus story and certain aspects of ancient myth. But I do believe that there probably, I'm not going to say this for certain, but there probably was a character that I'm not a character, but an actual person that the Jesus character is based around. His name wasn't Jesus; it was Yeshua, which more accurately translates into Joshua rather than Jesus. He probably had a mother named Miriam. He probably had a father named Yosef. He probably now this is probably one of the ways that we differ. I think he had a wife whose name was also Miriam. It was a common name back then. And yes, I am implying that he was married to Mary Magdalene. I don't think he was born of a virgin. I don't think he performed any true miracles. I think he probably did a lot of faith healings, which doesn't mean that he was. Okay, sorry about that. My battery died. I had to plug it into the wall. Where was I? I was talking about. Oh yeah, I think that the stories that are in the Bible, I think those are exaggerated claims of his followers. He most likely existed. There probably was a dude who was a Jew who many people thought was the Messiah, who performed faith healings, which are, faith healings still go on today. Most skeptics, actually all skeptics, think that they're bullshit. Not to say that all faith healers are con artists. I'm sure a lot of them are. But I think a lot of faith healers actually do believe that they're healing these people. And I think that was probably true of, we'll call him Jesus just for argument's sake, even though that wasn't really his name. He probably believed that he was doing this stuff. And I'm sure he had a lot of wise words that people truly believed in, and he built up a following, and some people thought he was the Messiah, and after his death, whether he was crucified or not, I'm really not sure if that's the way he died, but after his death there were numerous expansions on his so-called faith healings, and things sort of grew exponentially. And I think a good modern example of that HUL gave the example of Scientology, which is a good analogy. However, I think an even better analogy would be Elvis. There have been lots and lots of Elvis sightings since his death. You know, people believing that he's still alive. People that were huge Elvis fans tend to disbelieve the things about him doing drugs and all the negative. They tend to increase the positive things, you know, about, like, you know, he's still alive, he faked his own death, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's, and especially in a time back then when there was no mass media, not even a printing press, it's quite likely that that somebody's life, especially somebody who could seem miraculous on the surface, it's quite possible that their life can become exaggerated and snowball to the point to where, you know, not only was he a wise man who healed the sick, but he was the Messiah and the Son of God and God incarnate on earth, and he was able to transmute water into wine and walk on water and all that other stuff that's attributed to Jesus. But I think it's you that make the false dichotomy, or you imply that HUL is making a false dichotomy when I don't believe that he is. So that's really all the point that I wanted to make, and I wish you the best. See you later.